Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Siskid. I'm the author of Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 1, Solo Standards for Piano, Playing Solo Jazz Piano, and other books. Check out jeremysiskin.com. You can order them from anywhere that the finest of books are sold. Today I want to talk about a comping pattern that I think is really important, or I don't know if it's a comping pattern, it's a comping concept. Let's call it a comping concept, a compcept. Nope, didn't work. A comping concept that I call lead-ins, okay? And basically the idea is that here we're going to be aiming for beat 1, but we're going to add a comp to set up the comp on beat 1. So if we're coming in with F major right on beat 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Now, there's two main ways that we can set up or lead in, hence the name, to that comp on beat 1. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right, so that was a comp right on beat 4 and then right on beat 1. I'm going to show this to you visually in a sec. Or we could move that comp over to the end of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 for a little bit of syncopation. So again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. But as you're going to see, based on how we're selecting the chords and a couple other things, we're going to be able to iterate a lot of variations of this concept. Now, you can hear this being used in a lot of places, but one place where you can hear it used really clearly is in stop time sections, right? Stop time is where the rhythm section stops playing for a while and maybe a soloist fills. So sometimes musicians, rhythm section players will just play hits right on beat 1. Right? Can you hear all those hits are just boom, do, 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 do. But sometimes we will lead into those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So those are now 4 to 1. Or 1, 2, 3. Or use the end of 3. These are both really common when we're doing stop time. But we also use them in a lot of other comping contexts. So let me show you some of the ways that we might iterate. That's my fancy word for the day, iterate, and how this works. All right, so here's your two basic comping patterns. So each of these examples is going to show a 2-5-1 in the key of F, G minor to C7 to F major. And these are some two-handed, what we call type A, B voicings. So we're not going to be seeing the root in these voicing. But the first thing that you could do if you're trying to play these lead-ins is you could repeat the previous voicing. So here I'm playing G minor 7. And then I'm repeating G minor 7 and connecting it to C. And this is one of the reasons that I love lead-ins is because they organize comps together. So instead of just a bunch of random chords that you're playing anywhere in the bar, now we're getting a sense of organization. There's groupings of comping. Right? And then we play C7, and then we repeat that C7 and lead to F. And now this is pretty uninteresting because we're staying on the same chord. Excuse me. So all we're doing is we're playing 2 Fs in a row. So hearing this entire pattern, I'm going to play a bass line. Okay. And we could do that same thing with beat 4. So if you look at letter B, it's really the same concept. I'm playing G minor 7. I'm repeating that G minor 7 and leading that to C7. So Now, as we said, some of this can get a little bit boring, especially in the F major section. So letters C and D show this same concept, but using a side step as the lead-in. So side step means that we're targeting our upcoming chord with notes a half step away. So this chord here, let's zoom in, is not really related to G minor 7 at all. This is going to lead in by half step to each one of the notes of the next chord. Now here it happens to be a half step above. It could be a half step above or a half step below. So this is kind of implying a D flat 7, but you might prefer thinking of it as a bunch of neighbor tones, right? Each note is a neighbor tone to the note that it's targeting. Same thing here. This chord is the lead-in to F major 7. And it has nothing to do with the C major 7. Here we're doing a G flat major 7, and each note's leading in by a half step. So now we've got some more motion. At the end, watch out for this chord because we're repeating. So it's going back to G minor 7. So here this is kind of like an A flat minor 7 leading back around. So it sounds like this. Really nice, right? And we could do the same thing if the chord is on beat 4. Right? Low. All right. Now, if we look at letter E and F, and I will put a link to this PDF for you in the show notes. That's what podcast people say, in the comments, the description, whatever we call it here on YouTube. So now we're doing it with a tonicization. Tonicization means that we're using the 5 of the upcoming chord. And because we're jazz musicians, we're going to use altered versions of the 5. So it's G7 leading to C, C7 leading to F, and then the C7 leads back to F again. And then D7 is leading to G minor, right? Each of these added chords in red is a fifth above the targeted chord that's coming up. So this creates like a clearer suspense, a clearer attention to resolution than the side step. Each of these chords kind of has that feeling of a dominant chord and then resolves appropriately. Now you might notice some of these are the same, right? Actually, this C7, leading to the C7, if you understand the rules of the tritone substitution, I'll link a video for you. This is just like a D flat 7 leading to C7. So in some cases, they're very similar, the tonicization and the side step. And then letter F shows the same thing happening with beat 4. By the way, a lot of times when Oscar Peterson plays this beat 4 tonicization, he adds a little, what I would call a ghost note. He plays a really soft note on the end of 3, so that it's not just 2 on beat comps in a row. Ga-da. So it has like ga-da-da instead of just da-da. Ga-da-da. All right. Letters G and H are kind of taking the next step. So now what we're doing is we're still adding chords on the end of 3 and on beat 4, but we're anticipating the resolution, okay? And I kept the tonicization from our previous 2 examples. So by anticipation, I mean now instead of resolving on beat 1, the resolution is coming on the and of 4. Okay, so here the C7 is on the and of 4. The F major is on the and of 4. The F major is on the and of 4. And then here, this is the G minor 7 in the repeat on the and of 4. So the chords on the and of 3 and beat 4 in letter G and letter H respectively are still right where they were, but it's the resolution now that's moved. It's being anticipated. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, that's letter G, or letter H now has a little bit more energy because we do have an offbeat. 2, 3, 4. Now, before we go, let me show you an Oscar Peterson transcription in which he's using a lot of these lead-ins. So this is Easy Does It. It's from Night Train. I'll play you the beginning here. This is just the head. I haven't played this transcription in a while, but you can see the red circles. It's all these and of 3s leading into beat 1. But as he gets into the solo, you're gonna see more beat 4s leading into beat 1. Let me fake the solo. I'm sorry, I haven't practiced it in a second. You can see there's all these moments, and I haven't even circled all of them because I wasn't circling the anticipations originally. But all of these moments are just the same kind of lead-ins that I had taught you. These hits on the and of 3 on beat 4 leading into beat 1, or on the and of 3 leading to the and of 4. So, this is really something that you can practice. You can learn, you can incorporate into your comping to make yourself sound like a more professional, fluent comper. All right, if you enjoyed that, I bet you'd enjoy probably Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2, because it's got some of these variations, these next steps with comping after you've gotten to a basic level. I will put in the PDF that lead-in worksheet I made. I don't share my transcriptions. You should do it yourself. It's great solo to transcribe. Easy Does It off of Night Train. All right. Since we just heard a little bit of Easy Does It, if you've watched this far, why don't you say something using the word easy? Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care.